Hello, hello. My name's Sammy, aka Fortune Boy, and this is Fingerstyle First-days piece number 4. Hopefully you're getting the drill by now. This is our 4th piece out of 10 pieces in total. It is my brand new fingerstyle series aimed solely at beginners or anybody that's never got into fingerstyle, or even those people that want fingerstyle but just want something a little bit more relaxed and chill to practice. So the 10 pieces are ordered in difficulty, and today is piece number 4. So we're getting almost to the halfway point. If you haven't had a listen to the other pieces before this, then you go check it out in the playlist. You've basically got 1, 2, and 3. And today we're going to tackle piece number 4. Now, in this video, obviously, I will teach you how to play the whole thing, but if you'd like basically a tab or a music score to look at instead or use whilst I'm talking to you, then that is available in my PDF book, Fingerstyle First-days, available from my website. Please just check the comment down below. It has all 10 pieces, and you also get MP3 playthroughs of every single piece as well. And just a reminder, you can hear the whole piece without the backing played. So obviously in the intro I was playing it with some backing that I wrote, but you can hear it just ukulele only at the very end of the video. So just use the chapters to skip on ahead, and then you can hear that. Okay then, what we need is a high G ukulele. Tune it, grab it, let's go. Okay, so for this piece, we're only going to be playing the C, E, and A strings. The G string isn't used at all, so feel free to cut it off or just ignore it. And so usually what I'd say is that your C string is going to be played by your thumb, your E string will be played with your index finger, and then your A string will be played with your middle finger. Now that's going to be true when it comes later on, but actually for the first line where we're only playing 2 strings, you're going to have pretty much 2 different ways of playing it. And so let me explain both of them. So if we just, for example, fret the 2nd fret on the E string, if we just get that note there. Now there's a couple of different ways of playing it. So the way that I'm playing it on the video is that I'm plucking the E string with my thumb, and then I'm plucking the A string with my middle finger. So if you just pluck E and A and just go between the 2 of those, then just try that with your thumb and your middle finger and see whether that feels okay or whether that feels weird. So then the other way that I'd say is basically you can use these 2 fingers instead. So you can pluck the E string with your index finger and then still pluck the A string with your middle finger. So just try that for me. So pluck the E string with your index and then A with your middle, and just alternate between those 2 and see if that feels any different, any weirder, or any more comfortable. And technically, there is a third way of you could just use your thumb for the E string and then your index finger for the A string. And now there's no problem with that, but essentially on the other 2 methods, we always have 1 finger or even 2 that are anchored to the strings and stay there the whole time. For example, when I'm playing my thumb for my E string and my middle for my A, basically when I move to the arpeggio later, I have to then play the C string with my thumb, and then index with my E string, and then I can play the middle with my A string. So the middle finger kind of acts as an anchor, it doesn't move, and it just is a little bit easier. And same with the other method with the index and the middle on the E's and A's, it just means that when you have to start playing the C string for these 3-note chords, you just use your thumb, your hand doesn't have to move at all. But anyway, teachers are preachers, so try and play it however you like. Basically, as long as you're getting a good sound out of it, it's probably fine, but just try as many methods as you can and see what's most comfortable. Okay, so like I said, for our first whole line, we're only playing 2 strings. Now we start off on our E string, 2nd fret, and our A string has to be open for the entire time. So we just want to make sure that finger on the left hand is nice and crooked, so we're getting a nice, clear, open note. Okay, so for bar 1, we're basically playing 8th notes, and we're just going to alternate between E and A. E, A, E, A, E, A, E, A. And again, the 8th note, so I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm using my index finger currently on the left hand to fret that, but realistically you can use whatever finger you like. There is no problem, we're only playing 1 note on the string, so don't worry too much about that. So for bar 2, we continue with the same pattern, but only for half your bar. So we're going to play still on the 2nd fret of the E string. We'll pluck E, A, still on the 2nd fret. And then for the rest of the bar, we need to move all the way up to the 7th fret of the E string. So your finger doesn't have to pick off and take off the strings. Still keep it on the string, just kind of release pressure and then move up to the 7th fret. And we're going to play E, A on that 7th fret right there. So bar 2 will go E, A. And again, these are 8th notes, so we would count that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that means between bar 1 and 2, I do advise a little bit of counting, just because we have to remember when we have to move to that 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's that 3rd beat in the 2nd bar where we have to move all the way up to that 7. Okay, so for bar 3, we're actually just basically letting go of the fretboard. Always when I say letting go of the fretboard, you don't have to let your left hand go wherever, because often we can find that the ukulele kind of drops or anything like that. So if you're wearing a strap, you'll find that the ukulele stays quite nicely. If you do have problems whenever you let go of the fretboard and the ukulele kind of just disappears a bit like that, then I'm always kind of supporting it with the side of my index finger here. So even though I'm not touching anything, you can kind of see that that fretboard is completely supported by my finger here. And again, my thumb can touch it, but it's not really actually holding anything. It's just kind of there in like a lobster vice grip kind of thing. It just means that when I'm playing the open notes, the ukulele is supported. So for bar 3, we just remove that index finger and we're going to play E, A. Both strings are open, just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So bar 4 has a similar pattern to bar 2, which means we're going to play the first half of the bar just the same, so it opens E, A. And then for the second half of the bar, we're going to change to a different note. So we're actually going to fret the 9th fret on the E string. Now I'm going to use my ring finger for this one. And the main reason is because I know that in the next bar I need to come all the way down to the 2nd fret, and if I use my index finger for the 9th, then essentially I have a 7 fret jump to make, which is quite large. If you use your ring finger, then your index finger, my index finger is kind of then hanging around the 7th, 6th fret, so it's only kind of a 4 fret jump, which is much easier and just makes for cleaner transitions. But again, try whatever you like and see whatever's comfortable. I'm going to be using my ring finger, and that comes on the beat of 3. So bar 4, we will go E, A, and then drop your ring finger, 9th fret of the E string, E, A. So bars 3 and 4 will go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's our first line. So again, just try and think about what you want to do with the right hand. There's not a lot you can do to go wrong, really. Just don't try and use your thumb or one finger to alternate between 2 strings. Just at least have a 2-finger combo going on. So let's play through all of line 1. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and. Okay, so for line 2, like I said, I've already told you we're coming all the way down to the 2nd fret. So we're just kind of playing almost a D sus2, which is the 2nd fret on the C string. I'm going to be using my index finger for that, and then we're keeping the E and A strings open. But now we're going to be playing all 3 strings. So that means on my right hand, I'll now be using my thumb for my C string, my index finger for my E string, and my middle finger for my A string. Okay, so bar 5, what we're going to do is we're going to pluck our C string with our thumb and then pluck the E string with your index finger. So we go C, E, and then we're going to play C, A. Okay, so for that I'm using my thumb and then my middle finger. C, E, C, A. And then for the rest of the bar, I'm just going to go C, A, C, A. So all together for that bar, that pattern is C, E, C, A. A, C, A, C, A. And again, if I count that as eighth notes, it is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so here comes the easy part. Let's practice that bar, because for bar 6, we have to play the exact same thing. Still left hand in the same position, no need to move it or lift it up. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. That is followed by bar 7, which is the same. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. And bar 8, which is also the same. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. That was some quick learning. Well done. So let's just play through the whole of line 2, bars 5 to 8. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and. Okay, so then we come to bar 9, which is part of line 3. Even more good news here. The whole of line 3, bars 9 to 12, are exactly the same as line 1, bars 1 to 4. So, just a reminder, line 3 will go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 there we have it. So then so far we've had line 1, bars 1 to 4. We've had line 2 and then line 3, which is exactly the same as line 1. So we now come to line 4. And actually it's almost the same as line 2. There's just one small difference at the very end of the bar. So let's go through it bar by bar. So bar 13, we're all the way down to our D sus2 again, which means I have my index finger on the 2nd fret of the C string. And I'm playing the same pattern as I was in line 2. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. Which means bar 14 will be the same. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. Bar 15, the same. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. And then for bar 16, we have some craziness. We're going to move our index finger 1 fret down to fret 1 on the C string, and we're going to play the same pattern, C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. So the whole of line 4 should sound like this. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and. Okay, so line 5 brings us some new left hand work, and this is where this piece is going to be actually more difficult. You might be playing through it so far and being, how is this piece any more difficult than the things I've already tackled? But now we're going to have more left hand work while still constantly playing the right hand. That does require a little bit more thinking. Okay, so for bar 17, we need to play essentially an E5 chord. Now, if you're used to your E minor, you can just play me an E minor chord. And what I want you to do is just remove your middle finger. So actually, you should only have your ring finger on the 4th fret of the C string and your index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. That E string is completely open, so we should have 4, 0, 2. Remember, for the whole of this piece, we're not touching the G string. Okay, so once we're there, essentially what we're going to do is the same pattern that we've just been talking about. So we play C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. And then for our next bar, bar 18, we're going to modify our chord slightly. And essentially, we're just going to take our index finger off the A string. So the A string is now open. The ring finger still stays there. So we should, from C to E to A, have 4, 0, 0. So, ring finger still on the C string, we're going to play the same pattern. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. Now, the idea is to do these two bars again sequentially. So, if I was counting them, this is bars 17 and 18, I would be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So, you see, we have a little bit of time to alter that chord. but essentially we don't want to put any pauses in between the bars whilst we're thinking about moving a finger on our left hand. Okay, so for bar 19, we're essentially going to take the same shape that we had at the start, which was our 4-0-2, and imagine just moving that up 2 frets. So now our ring finger's on the 6th fret, the C string, the E string is still open, and then my index finger is on the 4th fret of the A string. Okay, so we're going to play the same pattern. Once we've got that chord in, we're going to play C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. And then for bar 20, we're going to do the same trick, as in we're going to lose our index finger. So it's just our ring finger that's still on the fretboard on fret 6. So we should have fret 6 on the C string, open E, open A. And we're going to play C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. So that means bars 19 and 20, once we've got our chord, an F sharp minor 7, it should sound like this. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A, C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. So in that whole line, all we're doing is basically now modifying the melody line on the chords. We're modifying that A string to give us a little bit of melody within the chords, but we're not really going crazy with like a big different chord shape. Okay, so playthrough of line 5. This is how it should sound. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and. So hopefully you could see between those two chords, essentially my ring finger never has to leave the fretboard, okay? And that's really important. That's something we call an anchor finger, changing between chords. It's essentially one finger that keeps the gravity of the whole thing for us, so we can move and only have to change like 1 or 2 fingers rather than all of them and leave the fretboard. So just practice that, going between those chords, moving that ring finger up and not letting go of the fretboard. Okay, so after that we come to line 6. Now line 6 is exactly the same as line 4. So here's a reminder. We need to come down to the 2nd fret C string with that index finger. So D sus2. And we play same pattern. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. We play that for the next bar, which is bar 22. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. 23, same. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A, and then we move down a fret to the 1st fret on the C string, C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. So that's line 6. We've already technically learned him exactly the same as line 4. Okay, so now on to bar 25, which is line 7. This is exactly the same as line 5, so that means we're coming back to our E5 weird E minor shape. E minor essentially without the middle finger. So 4-0-2 on C, E, and A. Once we've got in, it's going to be the same as line 5. So we're plucking C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. Then for our next bar, we lose the index finger. Still keep your ring finger on the 4th fret. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. We then had to move to this F sharp minor chord, so we basically move up 2 frets with our ring finger. So that's on the 6th fret of the C string, and then drop your index finger back on, and that's now on the 4th fret of the A string. 6-0-4 we should have. And again, I'm going to play the same pattern. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. And then for our next bar, if you remember, we just released the index finger. Keep your ring finger on the 6th fret. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. And then we come to bar 29 and line 8, our final line of the piece. We're back to our D sus2, which is the 2-0-2. And again, I'm using my index finger to come back here. It's going to be no shocker. We're going to use the same ideas that we played. So bar 29, we play C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. Bar 30, the same. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. 31, the same. C, E, C, A, C, A, C, A. And then actually for the last bar, all we're going to do to finish is pluck that C string alone and kind of let that hold until it runs out of sound. So from an instructional and kind of learning way, that's actually quite an easy piece. There's lots of repetition in there. We use a lot of the same right hand patterns, but the two things that are going to hurt is modifying our chords without pausing and putting any playing in. And the second will be the speed of the piece. This one's a speedy little demon, okay? You don't have to make sure you play it at exactly the same speed, but I've put it at this speed as an achievable goal because I want you to work your way up until there, okay? Now, speed never is top priority, okay? Technique, rhythm, that's all our priority, okay? So that's the best thing. But if we can, like I said, we're trying to push the speed on this one. So once you've got it all learnt, it's nice and smooth, see if you can push it to the actual speed. And there we have it. That is piece number 4 completed. I hope you enjoyed this piece. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, whether, you know, for your skill level, whether you find it too easy, whether you find it just right. Yeah, like I said, I'm really curious. If you are playing through the pieces at the moment and you're uploading videos of them to social media or anything, please tag me, 4-String Boy. I'll always share them, and I'm just really happy to see people playing the pieces. So the ones that I've been sharing, it's really, really sweet. So please continue to do that. And in 2 whole weeks, we'll be looking at piece number 5. So I will join you then. Please make sure you're subscribed down below so you can catch up with that. All right, have a lovely week. I'll catch you real soon. Bye bye.